Members of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on tour of the Abuja airport. Then the Lagos airport is next. A look at the new terminal under construction.
um, you are already disadvantaged by gender. Okay, so for you to be one that will hold your head high and be reckoned with, you have to really give it all it takes in terms of diligence. You have to know your onions. You cannot afford to be wishy-washy, so that your gender is not despised. I came in straight out of school into Nigeria Airways. Then I was employed and I started in the workshops. But even though you were a graduate in aviation industry, you were not reckoned with as an engineer unless you were licensed. And then the drive to get licensed and to be reckoned with became a driving force. And based on that, one went out, did, what qualifying exams one needed to do with the NCAA to get licensed. And from there, then the different aircraft types that you had to work with. One was trained on them.
I actually came into this industry to take over, and so far so good. I am one of those people that believe it shouldn't just be work. You need to infuse a little bit of play in doing your job as well. That way people don't really see it as work. It becomes something people get to enjoy. So people now look forward to coming to work most times than sitting down at home. Just be focused. If you're focused with determination, the sky will just be a starting point for you.
For the industry to grow, there is indeed the need to inspire the next generation of teaming ladies and girls to chart a career in this vast industry. And finally, a news flash, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority says it's taking the training of its members of staff seriously. The regulatory agency, however, added that the foreign training for technical members of staff will require approval from the head of service of the Federation. The aviation regulator was responding to the complaints by members of the National Union of Air Transport Employees during a solidarity rally. And on the issue of autonomy, the NCA has said it's not restricted in any way in its regulatory oversight responsibilities.
Ahead of a major decision to be made this week, the construction to build a third runway at London's Heathrow Airport has been delayed again. The office of the British Prime Minister David Cameron said it will give a clear direction on this issue by the end of the year. The debate over where to build a new runway in the densely populated southeast has been running for over 25 years, and an independent commission already recommended Heathrow's expansion plan as the best of all the options. Following the climate change conference going on in Paris, France, a campaign group called Playing Stupid, which is opposed to any expansion of air traffic in the UK, has already sought to disrupt Heathrow's operations in protest against the proposed new runway.
We can't have aviation expansion anywhere and stay within our carbon emissions reduction targets. Therefore, it's not a case of Heathrow or Gatwick, it's a case of not at all.
3 London villages near Heathrow will be virtually wiped off the map if the Heathrow expansion goes ahead. In Simpson, on land designated for the third runway, environmental campaigners have moved in and have built a self-sufficient squad camp called Grow Heathrow.
9 of the top 10 destinations out of Heathrow are to short-haul destinations that we could be getting through to rail and by car. If we start subsidising these industries properly, we will therefore be able to create a much more environmentally friendly and practical solution rather than expanding this carbon-intensive industry.
The land occupied by Grow Heathrow was once a derelict dumping ground before the squatters moved in February 2010. The villagers have welcomed the change of use and have dug in with the activists to learn more about how to protest and also about eco-living.
And Grow Heathrow, as well as opposing the third runway, also shows alternative ways of living. We've been sustaining around 60 people recently with solar panels and wind and using reclaimed wood for our fuels. And this, juxtaposed with the wastefulness that we see around us, as a project that educates people, it's been very successful.
Next to Simpson is the village of Harmondsworth. The proposed perimeter fence will cut through the heart of the village, leaving the remaining centuries-old cottages effectively positioned inside an airport.
If this was such a good idea, why can we not find one London mayor to support it? Most of the MPs who are proposing a runway at Heathrow don't live anywhere near it. Nowhere else in Europe are so many people affected by aviation grief, and that's as it stands now. Most other countries do not build their major international airports within the most densely populated areas.
Money talks, doesn't it? The difference is, I'm a firm believer in people power change, and there's a lot of people that are against the third runway for different reasons, and mine is because my heart and soul is in Sipson, and they don't want to take the other side of the airport, which is exactly the same size as Sipson and the other villages, but it's used for their haulage. So that just goes to show that money talks more than people.
For now, Prime Minister David Cameron is bound by a famous pledge he made in 2009 not to allow a third runway to be built at Europe's busiest hub airport.
This is our curtain call on the program. Once more, we look forward to your suggestions and comments via our feedback platform. I'm Bukola Joketumbi. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us.